Hey, sluts. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Jeanette. Coming to you from Salem, Oregon, USA.
A rooftop in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
We're plant sluts.
We're plant sluts.
Hey, sluts.
Hey, sluts. Happy October. This month, our garden takes a dark turn.
And not just because it's the end of the season.
We're summoning some of the creepiest, most mysterious plants to haunt your earbuds.
Ooh.
First up, we're going to spotlight Skullcap, an herb with a name fit for a graveyard. And then, when the veil is the thinnest at the end of the month, we'll be dropping a special Halloween episode. I'll get the sound effects ready.
First, let's start with garden updates. Jeanette?
Well, I finally had the arborist come out to look at the tree that I hate. The hawks have flown the coop, as they say about hawks. I don't know. The hawks, I think, are gone. I think birds are starting to come back a little bit. He came by, and it was really cool to hear him talk about the trees. It wasn't just like a landscape company that's going to come chop everything down. They have a lot of rules specific to Salem or just in general. They can only cut up to 25% of the canopy, and they try to stay below that number.
Mm-hmm.
So me having the tree just shaved at our property line wasn't even an option. They said the branch dipping towards our roof is not really in danger of doing any damage. It's too small.
Okay.
He looked at some of the branches where they're coming from, and everything seemed pretty secure and healthy. So I'm not super scared that it's gonna, bust our house down, maybe as I described it. I don't think it'll take our roof in or anything or destroy all our solar panels.
And did you tell him that you thought it was a walnut?
No, I tried not to sound that dumb. But after he talked for a long time about tree stuff, I was like, do you want to be on my podcast? So I asked him if he wanted to come on. Maybe if we have a tree episode in the future, we can get him.
Oh, nice.
He studied, I think, I don't know what the fuck you studied.
Arboriculture?
To be an No, he studied like agriculture and like botany or something.
But does he know that it's called plant sluts? Like, does he know it's slutty?
I did tell him it's called plant sluts. And I didn't make eye contact when I mentioned that.
Okay.
He also gave me some good advice saying, like, the best course, since it's in my neighbor's yard, is wait for any deterioration to happen on their side so they have to pay for it. So he kept saying, he's like, I'm a salesman, but I'm also an arborist. So I'm not going to, like, try to get you to, like, cut down this tree when it doesn't seem like you really need it. But he said, if the branches start to die and deteriorate from the trunk, that's on the neighbor to get done. And since it's a landowner, as we've established, or a landlord, it's their responsibility. It's his tree. I called the landowner about it.
Yeah.
Just saying like, hey, I'm going to, call someone. And he was like, okay, so It's your side of the property. Yeah, whatever you need to do on your side. And I was like, oh. I thought we were going to chat about a tree for an hour, but apparently not.
We're not inviting him on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. How about your garden, John?
Well, it finally rained in Montreal, so I'm excited about that because now I don't have any more hand watering.
And we're recording this a couple weeks before it comes out.
Yeah.
So it's not October 1st.
Right. So it's August, and in Montreal, it hadn't rained for a really long time, and it finally did rain a fair amount. So I'm just glad that I don't have to go to the garden to water.
Are you leaving the house enough?
Oh my God. What? You my mom? No. The answer is I'm not.
He's wearing his silk kimono right now.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But I also went to pick plums at my grandmother's house.
Aww.
It's this really old tree. Well, it's been there since the 80s. And my grandmother's brother-in-law, my grandfather's brother, had brought a cutting back from Italy and they planted it in the
wow.
backyard. And I actually haven't seen, it's a really interesting plum. It's yellow, shaped a little bit like oblong, kind of
Mm-hmm.
small, like, maybe a bit bigger than a ping pong. And it's yellow with a bit of a reddish blush on it on some of them. And it has this bloom, like a white kind of bloom on it. It kind of feels a bit powdery, like it's not, it's very matte, it's not very shiny, and it smells a lot like honey, and they're very, very sweet. And I actually did some research, and it seems like it could be a variety called Papagona Jala.
Is that how your grandmother says it?
My grandmother doesn't know. Like, I was like, what type of this? And they just have no clue. They're like, it's from Buen Albergo,
It's fr-
and I'm
it's
like,
from the old country.
yeah. And so I did my own search, and I looked at all these different pictures of like yellow plums. I had to
Mm.
do it in Italian because English didn't show me anything about
Oh
it. All
wow.
Italian plums obviously look like, I think, what we call an Italian plum, like you have, right? Which is purple.
Yeah. Purple, yeah.
I posted it on our Instagram. You can kind of go through if you're listening, you should, first of
Mm.
all, follow us on Instagram, but you can see under
Yeah.
our highlights, under my name, like you'll see an example of it. But
At plant.sluts.pod on Instagram.
yes, thank you, Jeanette. So this idea of having, these trees at my grandmother's. So there's also a purple plum tree that I often get fruits from, a fig tree that she has growing out in the backyard, and a pear tree. It kind of makes me think a lot about this idea, the permaculture principle of zones. Do you know the zone kind of principles?
I don't think so.
It's this idea that when you design your permaculture garden, you want to think about, the kind of care that's needed in what you're planting,
Yeah.
and the type of access you might need, and how often you might use a crop or need to tend to a crop. So you want to build these zones based on that. So that works really well if you have an actual, land
Yeah.
that you have complete control over, and that's within, a very clearly defined area. But when you live in the city, this is really impossible. So for me, I like to think about all the gardens that I have as this kind of different zoning. So I have in my backyard, which is unfortunately a bit shady.
It is shady. I've seen what goes on back there.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, okay. Now I'm like embarrassed. I'm turning red. My backyard is kind of shady, so I have some fruits that, can tolerate shade back there. On the roof, I have, all my tomatoes, peppers, things that I want to grab quickly, a last minute
Oh, yeah.
lettuce, kale, all those things that, yeah, they need to be watered quite often as well. So I want them to be easily accessible.
Yeah.
And then there's my community garden where I have things like garlic and sweet potatoes growing there,
Oh.
and any kind of perennials that need like deep soil.
Mm-hmm.
To add to that, I guess I have these other things. So at my grandmother's house, I have, I mean, she wouldn't say it's mine. It's not mine. It's access. I don't actually tend.
Maybe you'll inherit it someday.
Yeah, maybe. I don't actually tend to it. That's my uncle mostly that does that. But I have access to those kind of things. And even, in a larger scale, there's, organizations in Montreal, and I think a lot of cities have this, where they collect fruit, from neglected fruit trees, or from people's houses or people's fruit trees that they can't tend to. And so there's like a sharing arrangement.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, no. I'm officially a fruit pick leader for fruits défendus, like defended fruits. I don't know if it really translates well. And with this, I can sign up to adopt like an orphan tree. And so then I put together a group of people who will go and help pick these fruits. And we share 1/3 with the owner of the tree, 1/3 are given to a charity, and 1/3 is for us to kind of divide amongst the pickers.
I'm curious, would you do something like your grandfather did and illegally import a cutting of that plum tree to maybe, I don't know, Oregon? So I can graft it onto my Italian plum?
Listen, like, I'm not fucking with US customs right now.
Oh,
okay?
yeah. Wrong
Like
time.
let's wait in 3.5 years and
Yeah.
see what
Okay.
what I can do. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. I actually oh no. Jeanette, do you want to tell them about our giveaway?
Yeah, we've teamed up with Skincare for Weirdos to give one of you a skincare bundle worth over $100.
The prize includes their Holy Grail Daily Serum, a reusable face mask, under eye patches, and their Cosmic Healing Lip Glaze. And honestly, actually, I have some lip glaze on right now. I love this brand. Everything's plant-based, cruelty-free, sustainable. So if you're into plants, you'll vibe with their whole good for you, good for the planet energy.
To enter, it's super simple. DM us a screenshot of your Plant Sluts podcast subscription on Instagram at plant.sluts.pod. Then follow us and Skincare for Weirdos on Instagram. Like the giveaway post and tag a friend for an extra entry.
The giveaway runs from October 1st to the 14th, so don't sleep on it.
Get that glow, sluts. Time for Grapes and Grapes. This is the segment where we serve one salty take and one sweet one. John, do you have any grapes or grapes?
Yeah, I do have a gripe. I'm going to sound ungrateful, but it is unsolicited advice on gardening.
Ooh.
I know, because here we are giving, well, we don't give that much advice, but in a way we are kind of like unsolicited.
If you subscribe, you are soliciting.
You consent to being,
Yes.
yeah, to being, right. Okay, thank you. Well, it's just that there's this old guard at the community garden that really feel the need to tell people what to do.
Yeah.
I talked already about how my concept that I applied to my community garden.
Yeah.
It's a little bit chaotic.
Yeah.
I kind of let it do its thing. Yes, I know I did say this year that I would have more control and just try and be more on top of weeding, but things happen, okay? And I didn't keep up. I mean, it's cleaner than it looked last year, but you know, I've had this man who's really friendly. Like he's my friend at the garden. I say hello to him every time I'm there. I let him take some of my time to transplant in his garden, but he's always saying things about my garden. Like, you know, he once asked me why I'm not using my herbs. Why did I let it go to flower?
Oh my God.
He once was like, do you eat at all? Because nothing here you can eat. And I'm just like, yes, you just can't see because it's all covered under like gigantic borages and cosmos, which I'm going to get to. Believe me.
It's just not fair because he's probably retired and gets to just base his
He
whole
is.
life, and you are merely unemployed.
Yes. Which normally would mean I'm looking for work,
Sure. Hypothetically, that could.
which is itself a full-time job, I've heard. I have no excuses except mental health, okay?
Yeah.
I need time by myself.
Okay.
I have cats.
Oh my God. You have so much.
Yes.
Well, and does he think like you're supposed to have like a family you're feeding? Because I find like even having two people I'm feeding with a garden, I have too much food.
Yeah. He did tell me I should cut all of my cosmos and just leave one. And hot tip, men don't like to be shamed.
Oh.
So my defense, it's for the pollinators.
Yeah.
I'm leaving it there because the bees love it and it's really good for pollination. And it kind of shuts them up a little bit because then it kind of makes them feel like they're not with the times or that they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And they kind of retreat a bit.
Can I ask you about the cosmos? Is that a weed or invasive, or what is the deal with your cosmos? Because I just planted some in my front yard.
I mean, weed is a social construction.
Yeah. Like, is it something you need to take out? Like, how did it end up in your plot?
Well, I'll tell you. So cosmos are just like, they seed really well and prolifically.
Okay.
So they just kind of like spread everywhere, which is like good if you want a wild, an area and you want it to grow a lot of flowers for pollinators. In the community garden, it does get kind of out of hand, but they're very noticeable. Rather, they're very easily identifiable. So when they start growing, they kind of look a little bit like dill. Sometimes like when they first are growing, I'm kind of confused as to whether it's dill or a cosmo, but they grow in like such a distinctive way that you can easily just rip them out before they really cause any problems and before they seed.
And do you typically rip them out before they seed?
No, because I'm kind of mixed because, during the winter time, like purple coneflower and cosmo and cornflowers, like all of those provide a lot of seeds for birds.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like, I tend to leave them because I think the birds should have them.
Yeah.
And then I just the next season I'll just make sure I, clean it up to my liking.
Does this affect the other people's gardens? Because that's some of the things I think about planting in my own front yard. There's some things I've wanted to put that I don't because I don't want it to take over the neighbor's yard and then have to like have them secretly hate me. Is that a big thing?
And then like write in a gripe to
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. I'm sick of reading my neighbor's gripes. My neighbor planted a full clover lawn and a ton of Himalayan blackberry along the fence. How do I kill them?
She called me and wanted to discuss trees for an hour because she called an arborist. Honestly, some things just provide beauty.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to have to defend every single thing you grow.
No. There's certain things, like you should really care about obvious weeds that are a nuisance.
Yeah.
Don't worry about, things like cosmos and that type of thing. People really love cosmos.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
And bees love them.
Do you have any grapes?
Yes, I do have a grape, which is just, I guess, more of like a good feeling, or it was cute. So I went camping with some friends recently in Nova Scotia, and they all had kids, which, they had the kids, which was fine.
Good for them.
And and I actually brought a book by Sam Tair. I don't know if you know who this is. He's an edibles kind of foraging expert.
Okay.
And so there's a book called Edible Plants of North America, I believe. And I brought it with me. It's like really like a tome of knowledge for identification of wild native herbs or even invasive herbs that are edible. And so I was just kind of like looking around, kind of going through the guide, and the kids, they were like a mix of 6-year-old and 9. They were so into it.
Aww.
Like they would be like, what about this one? What about that one? This is something probably that people with kids have, but I had like intrusive thoughts of like being like, yeah, this is edible. Bunchberry. Do you know what this is?
No.
Cornus canadensis. I think it's also called, in French it's called cinquefoil. It's an indigenous species that grows all in the woods and mostly I think in the eastern part of the continent. No, it's red.
Oh, okay.
Well, the flower, it has actually bracts. So it has first green leaves, 4 to 6 green leaves with 4 to 6 white bracts, which are leaves that look like flowers but aren't. And then when it's mature, it has little red berries. And I know that you can chew those, like you can eat them. So, we were walking around, I was like, yeah, you can eat these. And they were like collecting them and eating them. And then all of a sudden I had this intrusive thought like, oh, what if I'm totally wrong?
Oh my God.
It's like, and then I started to imagine like, what would I have to tell my friend? Like, what would I tell my friends? Like they would never talk to me again.
Yeah.
But they were fine. They woke up the next day. once I left, I got a text message from a friend that was saying, the kids were going around picking blueberries.
Aw.
And they told me, and they said, Jonathan is so knowledgeable about plants.
Oh, that's so
And I was like,
cute.
"Oh, that's so adorable." Anyways, that's my grape. That's my
Aw,
grape. It
that's
made me feel
sweet.
it made me
Yeah.
feel great. And for like maybe a millisecond, I was like, I want kids.
Oh no.
Then I remembered.
So if you have any gardening gripes and you need some advice, send us an email at plantslutspod@gmail.com and we will do our best to give you advice that won't accidentally kill you.
So now grab a mug, pick some herbs, because we're going to spill the tea.
Dang.
Today, we have a super scary garden tea sent to us by a listener.
Yeah, our first mailed in tea.
Snail mail.
Yeah, it was snail mailed in. I don't know how they found my address. That's the spooky part. Here's my revenge mint story. My partner and I bought our home in April of 2023. As we were moving in, our neighbor, Scott, comes over and is in our garage. He isn't offering to help move us in, just telling us about the neighborhood. Cool, seems nice enough. This was Friday. Sunday, Scott comes knocking on my front door. He tells me that my air conditioner is too big for my house and I have to replace it.
He must be like a contractor or something, right?
I don't-
That he knows this kind of thing.
He's going to go to Korea for a few days, and he'll give me until he gets back at the end of May to replace it. I try to explain to him that we just bought the house with everything we had. There's no more money to spend on replacing a functioning AC unit that passed inspection. He goes to Korea and we go about our lives. He comes back and the next day is on our porch.
That's creepy.
This time, I sent my partner to deal with him. He tells Scott, no, we're not replacing it. Scott tells him it's making the fence shake. It's so loud and it keeps him up at night. He said that he put up with it with the last owner because they were old and needed it to be cooler. But we're young and we could just open a window.
Not in this climate apocalypse we're living in.
My partner told him if it's keeping you up, come over and talk to me, even if it's late. So he's basically like saying, like, come knock on my door anytime and tell me when it's being so loud that you can't even sleep. So a few days later, about midnight, I see this high beam light flashing through our bathroom window that faces his house. I ran to my son's room, and there's a spotlight flashing from Scott's house into my son's room from over the fence.
Even creepier.
Yeah. Then we hear the screaming. Shut it off! Shut it off! I'm not going out there to talk to him. And that's when the police start showing up. So the police were like, sorry, we have to do this, but your neighbor called about the AC unit. I know it's 100 degrees out, and I have mine running, and honestly, it's not any louder than anyone else's. But Scott kept calling the cops. Eventually, when Scott started to rip out chunks of the fence in front of the unit and calling the police constantly, the police advised us to get a camera. As we were putting up the camera, Scott came over to talk to us. He told us we're in violation of the sound ordinance. Mind you, we're not in an HOA. He demanded again that we replace the AC unit and that it's too big for our house and we could open a window. Again, he called the police and they took a decibel reading from the sidewalk at the property line, and the police were not going to go onto his property to lean through the hole that he made in the fence when he ripped the boards down to get the sound reading like he had suggested. The police informed us he had plans to sue us for years of pain and suffering because of this AC unit. We had only been in the house for 3 months at this point. I had it.
I hate this guy so much.
I know. So here comes the revenge.
Ooh.
The next day, I went out and bought mint and lemon balm to plant all along the fence line in the dirt. Try and stop that shit from spreading like the plague. I've continued to take mint sprigs and put them in water so they root, and I just keep planting. I think he might be trying to spray because some of it looks sick, but he'll be spraying and picking mint out for the rest of his tortured life. Fast forward about 8 months, the fence he ripped holes in and has claimed was his fell down. Once it fell, it was immediately our fence.
Classic.
So I built a fence out of metal poles, string, and all the morning glory that I thought the space could handle.
No. Oh, no.
I created a lovely wall between our properties. It twisted up on all his tomatoes and later dropped seeds like crazy. I saw a few baby morning glory plants in his veggie garden just before we got a new fence to put up between us. On the odd occasion I get a few slugs or other pests in my garden, I toss them over to play at Scott's house. So while Scott's sweating through his battle with my mint, I'll keep my AC running, savoring the cool, creeping revenge. Signed, Minty Misdemeanor.
Wow. How satisfying would it be to make like a mojito with that mint, you
Oh
know?
my
You're just
God.
like sitting, you're just like sitting on your porch with your AC running anyways, taking a sip of that sweet mojito with the mint from your neighbors.
I just love the visual of like chucking slugs over the fence.
I've done that.
Now, did you do it because of similar revenge feelings?
Yeah,
Okay,
I guess.
good.
Her personality sounds very much like mine. Like that's what I would do. That's my style.
Yeah.
That's my vibe. Yeah, I mean, but it sounds so creepy. Like why was that guy just standing there when they were moving in their
Yeah.
driveway, just like a peeping Tom,
I know.
peeping Scott?
It's scary because these things can escalate. You just never know. Like when you move in, you just don't know who the neighbors are.
I mean, I do kind of understand that sometimes the noise coming from, you know, people's houses could be kind of annoying.
Mhm.
Air conditioners, for instance,
Yeah.
I find kind of annoying. My backyard has 3 air conditioning units kind of facing it.
That aren't yours.
No, that are not mine. No, I don't have a, what is that, a heat exchange, a heat pump. And they're kind of old
Mm.
units. And well, one of them is actually new, and I did actually make a fuss with my neighbor. I sent him an email with the planning code
Mm.
that shows that it needs to be at least 1 meter away from the lot line because he had, well, I live in in Montreal, it's very typical to have houses that are share a wall,
Yeah.
they're like row houses. He was going to put it right on that line, and it was right next to the hammock that I love sitting in
Yeah.
and reading. And I just had this image of me never really enjoying it or being like blown with
Yeah.
like hot air from that. But I mean, in this setting, it seems like the man is pretty far from that,
Yeah, if there's a whole garden and a fence and
Yeah.
a vegetable garden on the other side. And in your situation, they hadn't installed the air conditioner yet?
No, I saw, so there was an installer that came
Yeah.
and he was talking about where to put it, and I overheard them talk. I mean, that's how close it is, like I heard him talk about, where to put it. And then, me, I was like looking up, like, no, I don't think that's right. Because I do keep, I do often read through mundane documents like the planning code and municipal codes and things like that. So I have, and I know exactly where to look for. So I sent him an email with that reference, and he did put it a bit away, and it's better, I mean, than it would have been, but it's still, I can still hear it.
But if you were like looking at houses and buying it and the air conditioner was already there, do you think you would start telling the neighbor they need to like you buy a new
No.
house and then you're like, get rid of it?
Honestly, even if I was annoyed, I would wait at least like a year before I bring it up to the neighbor.
Yeah.
Try and create like a rapport with them.
Yeah.
Get to know them.
Yeah.
Maybe slip a couple mentions of their loud air conditioner and like over, tea and crumpets. So if you have any garden tea to spill, please bring it our way. You can send us an email at plantslutspod@gmail.com. You can also message us on social medias. on Instagram, plants.
Plant.sluts.pod.
Thank you. So on to the next segment. We are doing scary, creepy, spooky spotlight, right? What do you have for us, Jeanette?
This episode is Skullcap. Insert spooky Halloween sound here. So Skullcap is a really interesting plant. And there are two main types, American Skullcap and Chinese Skullcap. And we're going to talk mostly about American Skullcap.
Because of the tariffs, right?
Jonathan, what do you know about Skullcap?
I actually really don't know much about it. I looked it up and I see a photo.
That's it.
Doesn't really ring a bell. I don't know if it's even around here.
Okay. American Skullcap can also sometimes go by blue skullcap. And it's a perennial wildflower with buds that kind of look like bluebells. But it's in the mint family.
Oh.
And I bought some blue skullcap from the Master Gardener sale in Salem. It was called Blue Skullcap, and I just saw that it was native and medicinal, and I didn't really know much about it. And I planted it in the fucking ground.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, is because it's in the mint family, it like spreads like crazy.
Yeah, it hasn't spread yet, but it's kind of it hasn't been there that long. I'm curious how it will spread, but after researching this episode, I don't think spreading will be that bad of a thing because it seems to be like a really useful plant. American skullcap is native throughout North America, especially in the wetlands and along stream banks, and it gets about up to 3 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
And it blooms in the summer. Whereas the Chinese skullcap, it's a single stem. It has purple flowers that resemble medieval helmets, and that's where the name came from. But they're different species.
Okay, and so that's why American would be called blue skullcap, because it's blue versus the purple, which is the Chinese skullcap.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the reason I wanted to talk about skullcap is because it has such interesting traditional and medicinal uses. But as a little disclaimer, we're not doctors. We're just we're not even professional podcasters. We're not doctors. We're only amateur podcasters, and this is for entertainment, hopefully, and educational purposes only. So always talk to a healthcare professional before trying any herbal remedies or supplements, especially if you have health conditions, if you're pregnant or take medication. I just found out that people with hypothyroidism can't take lemon balm, which is something I'm always like suggesting because how much I like it. So
people with hypothyroidism, so a slow. Okay.
So just, that's referring back to our first episode. So just, be very careful before you start any supplements if you get super excited about it, listening to it on here. But with American skullcap, the above ground parts are used as like a gentle nervine and help support relaxation. So now you know why I have it in my garden.
And nervine means it's like a nervous system. It works on the nervous system,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's what, okay.
It's historically used by Native Americans and early European settlers, helping them with anxiety, restlessness, insomnia. And it can also be used for mild pain relief.
Okay.
And it's mostly used as a tea, a tincture, or you can find capsules for calming purposes.
Plus, if it's a tincture, it's made with alcohol, so that also helps calm.
Yes, exactly.
Helps you sleep.
And I looked into like what makes this like a calming herb, like what is in it that really helps. American skullcap contains bicolin. Bicolin is how I pronounce it. Bicolin actually hooks onto your GABA receptor, and that's like your calm down switch in the brain. That's one of the things that kind of help create that relaxation effect when you take Skullcap.
I remember lemon balm also works with the GABA receptors, right? Did you see anything about mixing lemon balm with Skullcap?
I have seen places that sell tinctures and herbal medicine create blends with Skullcap and lemon balm. It also has Wogonin, Wogonin, which shows to have anti-anxiety effects in mice without grogginess, like you get from like Valium.
No idea. Never taken Valium.
Yeah, I don't. What's a Valium? Would you, Jonathan, rather have something really strong that knocks you out or something gentle but keeps you clear-headed for your anti-anxiety tincture?
I think something that keeps me calm and clear-headed. Yeah, I mean, when I feel if I feel groggy or sleepy or kind of out of it, I don't like that feeling. I really don't like that feeling. But of course, like sometimes I just need something to knock me out. Like I just want to forget about the day. I just want the day to be over, or I really want coffee, but it's too late, so I just want to knock myself out so I can wake up and have coffee.
When you crave coffee, you just like take sleeping pills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Most people who take Skullcap as like tea or tincture say to take it at night because it can put you to sleep. It has melatonin and serotonin in it. And
in it? Really?
Yeah. Oh. And those help regulate sleep and mood. It also has oroxylin A, which works as a dopamine reuptake inhibitor.
Okay, so it's like an antidepressant in a way.
Yeah.
That's what Wellbutrin is. It's a dopamine reuptake inhibitor.
Oh, interesting. So I would wonder if you can take it with Wellbutrin or not, because it has the same effect, or if it would interfere.
Or like make it even better.
Maybe. So both American and Chinese Skullcap have Sculptarian in it, and there's less in the Chinese one, but that's a kind of anti-cancer chemical. It makes tumor cells self-destruct and blocks a protein called TNFR2 that cancer-linked immune cells use to help tumors.
Honestly, it's like a lot of like technical stuff.
I'll be through it soon. Jonathan, do you like how I'm calling you Jonathan? I'm trying to remember to call you Jonathan.
It's fine.
Do you think nature has more cancer cures than we know?
Well, yeah, I think for sure. Like I think of prevention, like there's already things in nature, in plants and the food that we eat that have the ability to hinder the production of cancerous cells, like all the vitamins and minerals we need, but also like antioxidants and all these other properties that, you know, people are finding out about. Phytonutrients. There are so many elements that are not necessarily vitamins, you know, because like vitamins were really basically something that I guess scientists just figured out that we definitely need. But I think we don't really know fully the whole picture. But there's already like the tools for our body to fight cancer. There's always things that are creating like free radicals in our body, right? Which end up causing cancer. And we just need like the tools to like shoot them down while they're being produced.
Yeah.
And I think already like there are those things that exist in nature. And then on top of that, yeah, in terms of like cures, for sure, like there's so many things that we don't know and that we haven't found that are possibly more effective than, you know, like what exists today.
And learning about it, I feel like you have to be so careful because you don't want to feel like you have so much control that you caused yourself to get cancer or could have prevented it, or you don't want to get sold something that claims, you know, it has Sculptarian in it and then I'm not going to get cancer because like the balance is so delicate.
It's also like the human psychology plays into it, where if you think that you're taking all these things, then you kind of unconsciously or subconsciously permit yourself to do things that could cause cancer, you know? I mean, nothing as obvious as like I take Sculpterin and then I'm like smoking cigarettes and I think it's like canceled each other out. Like that's a bit too like obvious, but
Yeah.
you know, there is that kind of psychology of it. Like, you know, you wear a helmet and you kind of give the impression to car drivers that it's safer for them to drive around you, which is proven
Oh,
in studies.
that it is safer, or that car drivers think it's safer?
Car drivers think it's safer. So there's research. Okay, now my like anti-car kind of
Go
thing
on.
comes into this.
Go off.
This is like a cross between like war on cars and plant sluts.
His other podcast.
Yeah, basically the only other podcast on my subscription list.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's research that shows, and it was conducted, I think, in the UK, that shows that when car drivers see cyclists wearing helmets, they leave less room for them and they're less likely to slow down than if they see a bicyclist without a helmet on.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awful.
Anyways, you know, I wouldn't, so it's kind of more subtle things.
Yeah.
Like if you think that you're being really good at, you know, giving yourself all of the things that are anti-cancer, you're more likely to kind of like forgive yourself for eating, you know, like deep fried foods or things that have, you know, because I think when you use frying oil, you know, there's a lot of like oxidation that happens and, you know, it creates, it increases the amount, like I'm not a scientist on this matter, but that's what I've read, you know, and I think a lot of people know or suspect that can increase the risk of cancer.
I feel like people get obsessed with these kind of medicinal, like cure-all type plants or supplements, and then neglect simple things like how much water are you drinking? Are you having enough protein in your diet? Do you eat enough fiber? And like the real basics, the real not sexy stuff, you know, but you're taking like all these supplements that you think are going to cure everything.
No, I agree.
So Skullcap also has properties that are neuroprotective, or protect those protect your nerve cells when estrogen is low, like maybe when you're in menopause, and has some anti-HIV-1 properties. And the way it stops the virus from attaching to cells or fusing or spreading, but just in lab tests so far.
It seems like there's a lot of overlap with lemon balm, right? Like, because lemon balm also had similar properties to like the antiviral.
Yeah, it's interesting because they're both in the mint family.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Maybe we should just be planting our mint in the ground.
Yeah. Fuck, that neighbor is going to live forever.
Yeah, exactly. But so Skullcap used to be called Mad Dog, or the Mad Dog herb, because it has a long history of use in herbalism, in Western herbalism, during like pre-industrialized United States to treat rabies in humans and animals.
Oh, interesting.
It was a treatment for the hysteria and hydrophobia that you get with rabies.
Hydrophobia.
Have you heard of that with rabies?
Yeah, I think so.
If you get rabies, you die mostly because you're terrified of water and drinking water.
That's so weird. Like it's kind of like Last of Us vibes.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. Yeah.
What are sort of like planting guidelines? Is this available in like nurseries, or is it more like in the wild? Do you have to collect the seeds and spread?
I bought it at the Master Gardener plant sale. I've actually been kind of researching how to find more medicinal plants in nurseries, because most nurseries, when you go to the herb section, it's like oregano, thyme, lemon thyme, basil, and you're just like, that's it? Like, where are all the interesting, herbs? Where's the...
It's interesting that you say that. Do you know, I believe like the Experimental Farm Network?
No.
I won't go into how they operate, but I believe they have like a medicinal seed drop-down menu for when you're buying their seeds.
So I have been researching, and there's a website called Strictly Medicinal Seeds, and I haven't used it yet, but a lot of people on Reddit, when I posted asking about how do I find some non-ornamental passion flower and things like that, they recommended that. In Canada, there's Richter's Herbs, Richters. And again, I haven't used these.
Never heard that.
I'm more interested in like seeing the live plants. Like I know you can buy seeds, but a lot of times it's hard to germinate them. So having one already started is
cheating. It's cheating.
I know. I like to cheat.
Just kidding. Well, I was going to say, like, how is the skullcap that you planted doing?
Yeah, it's doing really well. I harvested it because you usually harvest after the flowers bloom, which is kind of through August. You can grow it in full shade, but it prefers partial shade. So mine's in partial shade.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like there's not that much good stuff that you can plant in shade.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
To be honest. You had said that it's found in wetlands and along riverbeds, but like what is the range in terms of where we typically find it grown?
You can find it natively grown from Newfoundland to British Columbia and all the way down south to Florida.
Oh, okay.
And it's hardy in zones 6 through 9. So you could grow some too, John.
Yeah, okay. But then, like, I guess you wouldn't find it in between. Like, it would be like Newfoundland to maybe Montreal and Toronto, and then nothing in the prairies in Canada, at least.
It actually doesn't really spread invasively, but it can spread more in really wet areas. It grows in sandy, loamy, or clay soil, and I think that's why mine is just like living its best life. It can deal with like mildly acidic soil, neutral, mildly alkaline.
It's pretty verse. What about reproduction?
I can give you some slutty facts about it.
I've been waiting for that, Jeanette.
Yeah.
I want to know how slutty this plant is.
It's very slutty. The bumblebees are the primary pollinators for American skullcap. The flowers have like a hooded upper petal and a lower lip that provide a landing platform.
It's like uncircumcised.
I was thinking more of a female anatomy.
Also uncircumcised.
True, yeah. Jesus. So it attracts bees that way and it directs them towards the nectar reward inside. Skullcap is also a hermaphrodite.
Love them.
So it has male and female parts. So it can do some self-pollination.
So like independent, but like still looking out for the one.
Exactly. Some species do this thing where the flowers are closed and strictly self-pollinate. And that guarantees the seed production even in the absence of any pollinators.
So it's like a fused flower bound to a lifetime of chastity.
But by choice.
Right, so it's like a nun.
Yeah.
In Korea and Japan, I've been seeing things about people who have sworn off relationships of men, really.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest.
Yeah.
What is that called? It would be the equivalent to that in the plant world. People who are swearing off men completely.
Celibate?
Yeah, celibate, but it's like incel, but like voluntary celibate, like a vocel.
Vocel. But they still want children.
Skullcap is a vocel.
A vocel. Well, I wonder how they'd act on the internet.
Tell me more about the skullcap in terms of its position in this universe.
The astrology. So, according to our magical book of herbs, skullcap is feminine.
Right. Oh, right. Interesting.
So that's why she don't pay no man no mind.
Oh, exactly. Vocel.
Yeah,
She's a vocel.
The ruling planet is Saturn, and the element is water. And so Saturn doesn't have a water sign that it's associated with. Saturn is typically associated with, I believe, Capricorn and Aquarius, which are air and fire signs. But I was like, I want to talk about its zodiac. So then I dug a little deep and I realized, Jonathan, both of our Saturn planets in our natal charts are in Scorpio, which is a water sign.
What? So skullcap is the vocel that binds us.
Exactly. We're basically part skullcap.
Wow.
This is using the whole sign house system. And so I wanted to read...
No idea what you just said, but I believe you.
In case anyone's like copying our charts at home and trying to figure it all out. I just want them to know that.
Like where we were born.
Yeah.
When we were born,
Yeah.
all that.
They're going to figure it out. They're going to find the hospital.
It's the vocels. They're going to doxy us.
Dang it. When you were born, if Saturn is in Scorpio, what does that mean about your personality? And I'll give you a little breakdown because this is supposed to apply to both of us.
You don't want me to answer that question?
I mean, you can answer at the end unless you already know.
No, I have no clue, Jeanette.
Okay. It's a strong personality with intense emotion, but a blockage of your feeling nature. So you have a lot of like complex emotions that are generated.
No.
That's not you.
Me?
I know, right? You're shrewd, apt to be secretive. That's the Scorpio. And you may have something of a power complex and be prone to jealousy. I'm just going to check yes for both.
Prone, yes. But you can manage that kind of thing.
I think
too.
so.
Yeah, like you have to just be like conscious of that, that you are prone to jealousy. And I would say, yeah, that sounds exactly like me.
And then sometimes though, we always think of it in relationships, but I wonder if there's places in our lives where we're prone to jealousy that we don't even realize. And not necessarily like looking at an influencer's, garden and being jealous or their, camera work or their podcast. But if you have your Saturn in Scorpio, you're likely to have fear surrounding the issue of emotional closeness and sexuality.
Okay, so fear, emotional closeness.
Mm-hmm.
Just straight up.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Saturn in Scorpio may mean that you've become a student of the occult as a means to explore the dark realms within your psyche. Which for me,
That's exactly what you're doing right now.
I'm doing it to you and you love it.
Oh my God.
And so your like lesson in life is to learn to master and bring consciousness to those hidden drives within you, transform the energy into healing power for yourself and those around you. I feel like the lessons are always just like get in touch with yourself, babes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So like having a house in a certain planet, does it work in the same way as like your sun sign in that there's 12 periods in a year and each of those is associated? So like 1/12, theoretically, 1/12 of the world has this, has their house in Saturn.
So it's where the planets are the moment you were born. There's 12 houses, but we're not talking about houses right now. We're just talking about the sky is divided up into the 12 zodiac signs constantly. And so the placement of Saturn when we were born was under Scorpio.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And now
Okay.
I didn't include the houses because we don't know Skullcap's house. But also, you and I have...
Right, because Skullcap wasn't necessarily born.
Yeah, but we...
Okay.
We both have different houses that are Saturns that are in Scorpio or in. So that's just... And that's a different part of our personalities, and I texted you yours. Yeah, there's 12 zodiac signs, 12 houses. God knows how many planets, because they include the sun, the moon. They include, astrology includes Chiron.
Pluto? Do they include?
They include Pluto, your true node. Some include Lilith, which I don't even know what that is.
What about Galactica?
Sounds, sure, probably.
And so if you had to rate this 0 to Xanax, you would rate it what?
I think I would give Skullcap a 10 out of 100 because that is the effectiveness compared to Valium that it said it had on mice. But it also gave me crazy nightmares, so I'll have to come back to it and see.
I guess that kind of fits the whole Halloween vibe to have all these nightmares with it.
Oh my gosh. It was the nightmare was like weird. It was like Australia. It had to do with plants. I don't even know.
Oh God.
Now I just start recounting my herbal nightmares on our podcast. Everyone's favorite thing to listen to. People talking about their dreams.
When I drank lemon balm, I feel like I had weird dreams.
Okay, interesting.
I can't remember what they were, but
I think it depends, like, if you're prone to nightmares, because I think I am prone to nightmares. So when I do have a vivid dream, it typically goes south quickly. Thanks for getting slutty with us. If you liked this episode, share it with your plant friends, your plant enemies. Email us with plants you think are slutty enough to be covered on the show. And please rate, review, and share so our garden can grow.
bye, slut.
Bye, sluts.